Welcome to another episode of We Don't Die, where my goal is to give you evidence that although our bodies will disappear, we survive physical death. Every episode, we explore this topic with men and women who have some incredible stories to share with us, and many have made their life purpose sharing about the reality of life after death. I'm your host, Sandra Champlain, author of the international bestseller, We Don't Die, A Skeptic's Discovery of Life After Death. I am thrilled to continue a conversation right now with Peter Anthony, who is also known as the Palm Springs Psychic. Now, I have to be upfront and honest with you. I base my life on integrity. I just spent the last half hour doing an interview with Peter, and I thought, well, that was it. That was a nice interview. But then we discovered there's so much more we need to talk about. So if you missed the first part where Peter talks about what he's up to, a bit about his television show he's working on, his work into the paranormal, his near-death experiences. That is episode number 003. And so even though this episode is how to take some of his principles and put them into your life and whatever else he wants to talk about, I don't want you to miss the first part, and that's 003. But this episode will be complete unto itself. And so I'm thrilled once again. Peter, welcome back to We Don't Die.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And
Anytime.
I think one of the most important things that you're saying here and that the audience needs to understand is that we don't die. And it took, as I said, death for me on an operating table and given a death sentence of 3 months to live
Oh
to
my.
completely change my life around. And every moment of my life, from the moment I healed until where I am today, became the most valuable moment of my life. And one of the things I want to talk about, and part of why I think we're connecting on this second interview here is, you know, when you cross over, and for those of us who have crossed over, you can relate to this, but part of what happened on my near-death experience was that I learned that worldly knowledge is one of the most important things that I experienced. In other words, I was able to tap into what we call collective consciousness. But what I tapped into was the Darwins, and what I tapped into were the Da Vinci's and the Nostradamuses and the Cheros, the
Wow.
Shakespeares. What I tapped into was my math teacher, my English teacher, my history teacher. Imagine all that running through your mind, and you're learning everything instant second by instant second, from moment to split second. That's how powerful this was for me. And then I also learned that we all on this planet must learn to let go of judgment. And the thing for me, for those of us who've been raised religiously, as I was born and raised Catholic,
Mm-hmm.
judgment became the number one priority, and guilt was the second.
Right.
And these are methods that have been used thousands of years to control consciousness. And what I learned, and not discrediting any of the religions, any of the churches, but the overall writing theme was not judgment, but love. And if you live your life in love, and if you're not religious, all you really have to tap into is just being a good person day in and day out. That is your job on this planet.
Say that
Nothing else.
again. Say that again, because what's going through my head, because you say judgment, and I don't care that I've written the book and I've done some great things. I look up in the morning, get up in the morning. First of all, I hit the snooze button, judgment there. I get up. There's a mirror in my bedroom. I'm overweight, gray hairs peeking through, still single at the age of 48. Judgment, judgment, judgment. And now, how does one just love? So if you could just repeat that and take, and I know I'm not alone on this self-judgment, by the way, but how do we do that?
First of all, you have to, and we go back to the very basics of the near-death experience, love.
Okay.
It goes back to, we have a two-choice, what I call it, a duality consciousness, or a two-choice fold in terms of thought. You either love or you fear. You're either greedy or you are living a life of gratitude. You're either, achieving success or you're living success. So if you understand, so once you learn that, I go back to the word gratitude. Every moment of your life has purpose. I did a lecture, and I had a 90-year-old man who the entire 3-day weekend just sat there with his arms folded until it was time to let go of the anger and the judgment that we had. And at the age of 92, he lost everyone. And in this
Oh.
exercise, he realized that his children and his wives and his family, there was just so much dislike towards. And he
Hmm.
learned in this to let go of his anger and his judgment and his choices. And he stood up and brought the audience to tears and how much he appreciated the lecture. And he wouldn't sit with anyone. He wouldn't talk to anyone. He boo-hooed the entire 3-day
Hmm.
workshop. And he was the one that changed everybody's lives. And he said, I have to let go of judgment of myself. I have been living a life of perfection, and I criticized everybody. And that's what we're geared to do. Collective consciousness teaches us that if we're not the in-shape woman on the cover of the magazine, or we're
Hmm.
not men's fitness and men's health, then we are no value. And so what happens is when you learn to appreciate the 48-year-old woman who has brown hair and who might be a little bit overweight, when you say, thank you for letting me have this beautiful body, thank you for letting me have this intelligence, and thank you for allowing me to do something on this planet, rather than having an attachment or judgment to the weight and the hair and being single,
Hmm.
we turn around and say, thank you for these gifts that you've given to me. And what begins to happen is you begin to lose the weight. You're talking to someone here who is 5'8", who used to be 208 pounds at a 38-inch waist,
Huh.
and now I'm still at 150 pounds with a 28 waist, and I have 10% body fat.
Wow.
Once you learn to love what's been given to you, the body, the weight, all that will change. And am I beautiful? No. But I love me, and I'm glad to be alive, and I'm glad, as I said, that I can walk and see again. And every day when I see a hummingbird, I'm grateful. Every day that I take a step with my dog, who is blind, I'm a seeing-eye dog, I'm grateful. So turn those thoughts into gratitude and watch the judgment release itself on you.
Did you just say you're your dog's seeing eye dog?
I am my dog seeing-eye dog. I rescued this
I
dog.
I did listen to everything else you said, but then I just got this vision.
I rescued this dog who was about to be put down 1 hour, and
Oh,
I just said I have to do
gosh.
something here. And he was blind, and he was a police trained dog, and he was given to an abusive owner. And I psychically found this dog, and when I was in London, and I came to the States and made phone calls and rescued this dog, and he saved my life 9 times. Um, and so
Man,
everything, even your animals, have purpose in your life.
sure they do. Well, and I did listen to everything you heard, and what I heard for myself, and it's a whole new spin on how to get somewhere. I mean, meaning losing weight. Everybody's thinks it's so natural to think, if the weight's gone, I'll feel better and I'll be more attractive or whatever. But to actually put in loving Sandra first, because the thing is even though I don't admit it all the time, I still would rather be me, with all my faults, than anybody else. I mean, I think we can all say that we all have great things about us, but I've never actually made it a practice or even looked to see how I can start with self-love. So thank you for that. And I think
Well, let me go a step further
yeah,
here. Which would you rather be, at peace with where you are today with your weight, or do you want to be at fear or anger at your weight? And the
no,
first thing I learned to do with the great trainer, he said, throw that damn scale away and don't look at it. I want you to be happy with you first.
yeah,
And I did it. And I went from 200 something pounds, I weigh 150.
good for you.
And you should see the way that I look. And so it's not that I'm addicted to body, but I understand that it's body, mind, and spirit that are one, and I can't do one of those without the other. You see, most of us on the spiritual world, we focus on the spiritual, but we forget about the body and we forget about the mind. You cannot do any of the spiritual work unless all three operate at the same time.
Hmm.
Does that make sense?
Makes a lot of sense. And it and it
Okay.
and it really sounds like, um, if we're given to think thoughts of judgment and guilt, like to catch myself in the act and then put in something else, you know?
Well, it's about money as well. We look at, what's going on in the world today,
Hmm.
and especially in the United States. And, I hear so many people come to me, well, I have my master's and my PhD, and I'm now working at McDonald's, or I'm working at Petco because no one else would give me a job. And rather than bemoaning that, Thank you, God, for the income for right now, and love what you do until what you love comes along.
Mm,
Do you see the way that thought energy changes in our thought
absolutely.
system?
Yep.
Love what you're doing until what you love comes along. And I guarantee, as we say back home in Texas, your life will change.
Well, it will. I mean, it's just I've seen people who have there was I probably will never see this woman again, so I can tell her story. But a very overweight woman I sat next to on the airplane, one that took up two seats, and she was reading a Harlequin, book,
Romance
love
novel.
romance
Yeah.
novel. Yeah. But her makeup was just perfect and her hair was nice and she was dressed nice. And that woman exuded so much
Mm.
confidence and self-love. And she spent the whole flight telling me about all the men, all the relationships, all the fun, and I thought, wait a minute, and it just, that's what you're talking about. You love yourself, and
And when you love yourself, you exude an energy,
yeah,
and people are attracted to energy.
right.
They think they're attracted to physicality, but after the sex and after the romance, what keeps a relationship going is the energy,
Yeah, I like that.
the conversation, the communication, the mind to mind. And that's why it's so important to find people of kindred connection.
Hmm.
And when we don't do that, we find someone to umbrella us. We find someone to correct us. We find someone to love us. And I don't go in with that principle. I go in with, you know what, I'm here to be a vessel of love, and I'm here to be an instrument to be used on this planet, and may God use me in the most perfect way.
Mm,
And it just, people show up.
that
And
they
I'm
do.
happy to be single now.
And
It's
you,
great.
well, I'm thrilled you are. And I'm really actually, I'm actually thrilled I am where I am. I have this instinct that there I'll be all dressed up on a stage in front of 500 people and some lucky man will be in the audience and go, that's the one for me. But it will be when I'm doing what I love and sharing what I love and when I'm giving and, like really radiating me. So,
Well, I think of this as an important thing. Spiritual is the Greek word for spiritus, which means blessed with spirit,
mm,
enthusiasm, passion. And that's what we need to be doing on this planet. We need to be passionate about something. I don't care what that is. I became passionate about rescuing animals and helping, the SPCA and being a part of helping the animal kingdom and children.
wow,
So,
great.
yeah, as I said, so find what you love. If you're working at an office desk that you absolutely just detest, okay, that's okay because that's where you are at this moment, and this shall pass. But as I said, if you start loving what you're doing and honoring your job with integrity, watch what happens. Watch how the universe works in favor. And I teach this with all my clients. You talked about the plus-size girl on the airplane. I did a plus-size workshop,
Hmm.
3-day on spirituality, and let me tell you, I have never had a more enthusiastic audience.
Hmm.
I could not begin to tell you how much they appreciate it, and it just made me adore the plus-size community. So it's for me, it was a great lesson.
Oh, that's great. Now, seeing as this
And
is our second of two interviews, the floor is
sure.
yours. And I know you had said that there were some things you want to share. So you've got the stage, my friend. Where are we going to go next?
All right. What I want to go into is that what happened to me in my near-death experience, not only did I see my life before me, meaning this particular current life, but I also saw all of my past lives from the 1600s to the 1700s through all the way up to World War II. And I began to realize that there is a spiritual thread that begins from the moment that we start life, and that in every lifetime we come back with authentic purpose. And through all those different lifetimes, we kind of forget why we're here. And we come back and repeat lessons until those lessons are learned. And sometimes the lesson is learned about our loving ourselves. Sometimes it's learned about being rich. Sometimes it's learned about being poor.
Hmm.
Sometimes you come back a king. Sometimes you come back homeless. But our problem, the journey of this event that's unfolding is there's a spiritual DNA that starts from the very beginning, the very moment we stepped onto this planet centuries ago, and we are here to complete that. And so an example, like you're a writer, well, you may have in one of your lifetimes not completed your abilities as a writer. Maybe it was due to alcoholism. Maybe it was due to a marriage. In this lifetime right now, especially for the baby boomers, it is important to understand that you've been given a gift to come back and do something with the shift of consciousness. And that is what is going on right now. There is this thing called the cardinal cross in the sky. And I find that interesting because when you go back to the time of Jesus, there was a cardinal cross in the sky, meaning there's an actual cross in the sky. When
Hmm.
you go back to Moses, there was a cardinal cross in the sky, an actual cross in the sky. When you go back to Noah, there was a cardinal cross in the sky. How interesting that we had a movie this past year about Noah. And
Yes.
how interesting that we have a movie coming out in fall, in Christmas Day, directed by Ridley Scott, about Moses. And we are getting a chance to review the rise and fall of civilizations. And it is our time right now as baby boomers, and for those of us who are 40 plus, to make a difference on the planet now. And that's why these spiritual seeds are awakening all over the planet. And people like you and people like me, we are the crusaders, and we are gathering people to listen to our words. And, we have to become the beacons of light. And that's what I learned when I crossed over. We are the beacons of light. Where two or more are gathered on sacred places, on sacred word, the shift will begin. And so what I've said to my audience is what I learned when I crossed over. It is the combination of religion, it is the combination of New Age thought, and it is the combination of science that will save this world. And the other thing I learned at my near-death experience, that it is feminine consciousness that will save this planet. Women, think of where
Hmm.
we are right now. Think of where our politics are right now. Think of what's happened with Planned Parenthood. Think of all the abortion clinics that are being destroyed and all the laws that are being passed with voter suppression. It is feminine consciousness that changes collective consciousness. And what I mean by feminine consciousness, not necessarily women, but people who are compassionate, people who are loving, people who are doing the work of God will change the planet.
Hmm.
And what's really happening is there is some kind of tug of war going on with the masculine consciousness and the feminine consciousness. This next election rides on women.
Gotcha.
And so if you understand that women are actually here, for thousands and thousands of years, women have been treated as second-class citizens. And for the first time in history, women are at the most powerful point of changing the entire planet. And it begins here in the United States. And if we become the citizens of change with feminine consciousness, imagine the domino effect all around the planet. So we have to get more women in power. Sorry, men, but that's just the facts. But feminine consciousness is what I'm all about, meaning a woman will think twice before she sends her son to war. Men will
Interesting.
do it because of integrity and it's we are here to defend the United States of America. But lives have been lost because of war.
Right.
And we need to stop war and negotiate and think about consequences, because one day could create a whole world of events that would just be unstoppable for centuries, for decades. So again, you go back to the principles. What I learned in my near-death experience is that from the year 2007, when we began this cardinal cross and Pluto and Capricorn, the rise and fall of every civilization, that if we've been given until the year 2022 to make a shift in all of our consciousness. That's why all these conflicts, women's rights and gay rights and the border conflicts that are going on right
Right.
now are all being presented not as conflicts, but for us to witness the truth so that we can make the changes. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. And I think there's some pretty broad things with a lot of people. Like I can't possibly be the one to make that kind of change, but I think early you had said that even
But we
within our
do, we
own,
can. We start with us
well,
first.
that's it. That's
You
it.
say, well, what's happening in China has nothing to do with me. Well, it takes but a moment to pray for China.
Oh, and we
You,
do know power of prayer is a very real thing, and that's been documented that lots of healings have occurred through prayer. So it's nothing wishy-washy or woo-woo about that. It does
No,
make a
but let's
difference.
take it to another step. Not only is prayer energetically powerful, but so is meditation.
Mm,
It goes back to thoughts become things. When I'm in a meditative state, I don't ask about the money, the job, the love, any of that stuff. How may I be of service, God? I ask in your name, amen, and watch how the universe shows up for you. You see, the thought of that is it gets you away from the job, the career, the money, the love, the weight. But if I'm here to be of service, the frequency of that thought goes up to the heavens. And we have a 202 down in Palm Springs, over, over. We have a 202, please send angels down in Palm Springs, over. And as opposed to the, I want the relationship and I'm all by myself, that's a low thought energy.
Right.
And changing the thought frequency to a higher frequency will only bring to you higher consciousness and higher people who are doing higher results.
Peter, can I ask you a question unrelated
Sure.
to this? I know some of the listening audience have recently lost a loved one. And
Yes.
and I don't know if in your near-death experiences, if you experienced anybody you knew on the other side, or if just being from a psychic, you have any words of wisdom that we see them again, they're okay, or anything in that arena.
Absolutely. One of the reasons why I'm doing PSP, the paranormal show, Palm Springs Psychic, is to tap into that our loved ones never go away. And once we change our thought system, our thought frequency, and get into a place of gratitude, we'll begin to see the other side. The only difference between those who are not seeing it and such as someone like myself who's seeing the people on the other side, it goes back to thought. And so, I always say, okay, my sister, I lost my entire family. I'm it. I'm the person that,
Literally?
all of them, father, mother, brother, sister, uncle, grandmother, grandfather. You're talking to the person, many of my friends call me
Oh,
the Jackie O. I am it. But I've learned to understand that my sister, who was my best friend, is with me daily. And when I go through my conflicts, I ask for Cecilia to show up. And I have a dream, and there she is. Or I wake up and I see this blue orb all around me, and I sense her loving spirit. They never go away. What we don't do is we don't ask for their guidance and their love and help show me what you want me to do. You're on the other side. I call upon you. And all of a sudden, the window blows, or the wind blows in the window,
yeah.
or the candle goes out. They're letting you know that they're there. But what happens? We get freaked out. Oh my God! And we change the immediate thought frequency.
We do
Well,
that, don't we? With
yeah,
the
we
freak
go to
out.
logic. Well, that
Uh-huh.
can't be, and that's not them, and we change it. So what I'm teaching my clients to do is, when your loved one crosses over and comes back to you, allow that energy to talk with you and spend time with you and listen. Listen with your heart and watch and listen with your eyes. It will happen. And talk to them. I talk to my brother. I talk to my sister. I talk to my grandmother, who I adore. She was a psychic, and she taught
Wow.
me how to connect to Mother Nature, to talk to the birds, to talk to the hummingbirds. And so it, again, goes back to frequency. My neighbor's always fascinated and shocked that I take walks that hummingbirds follow me. They follow me and my blind dog. It has nothing to
That
do,
is so sweet.
well, as there are the bats. I have the fruit bats here that follow me when we go on a
Uh-huh.
walk. I have a spotted hawk that also follows me. And so people look at me like, oh my God, this guy's kind of odd. And, I've begun to understand that bats are attracted to frequency, as are hummingbirds, as is Mother Nature. So
Wow.
it goes back to you're nothing more than a TV antenna
Huh.
or a knob on a radio station that's not focused in on the right channel. And if you just turn that knob just a little bit, and it goes back to gratitude, goes back to love, goes back to how I may be of service, then God, universe, Mother Nature will show you the signs. The other thing that I learned on my near-death experience, and many of you are already experiencing this, the 333, the 222,
Yes.
the
Yes.
777, the
Yes.
1111,
Right. Talk about
these
that.
are our moral codes. And they're happening at the strangest intersection. You may be at a stoplight, and all of a sudden you see a cab with 444. Or, all of a sudden your computer just spots up and zero financing and zero down and
Right.
zero limitations on it. That is a number called the God consciousness. And at that moment, God is speaking to you. And it's happening all around the world. I have people from Brazil and Romania and London and Toronto and Vancouver, down in Sydney. Why am I seeing 333? These are moral codes. What are you doing in your life,
What
that you can change?
okay, so 333 is my number. When things
333
What does
is
it
the
mean?
Christ consciousness.
Okay, so that's a great thing.
Yes, the 333 means where two or more are gathered, the multitudes. When we go out, how may I be of service to the planet? When you think of the number 33 or the 333, it is an angel code. It means it's ruled by Gabriel and Michael, the archangel. Call upon your archangels when you see these codes. What are you teaching me? What are you showing me? And the messages will come.
It's
They come
so
in
interesting.
daily. You
I
know,
just, even though I didn't know that about the numbers. I mean, I've had some seriously bad days or things happen, or even just last week, my day job is I work with race car teams as a chef, and provide hospitality for them. And it was just really having a bad day. Well, all of a sudden a race car goes by the the parking lot that had a 33 on it. It's like,
right.
okay, no race cars are going through the parking lot, and suddenly it has that number, and it's like, it just, to me, even though I didn't understand Christ consciousness, it's like a wake up call to, there's something else going on, Sandra. You're just where you need to be.
But
Trust
think
the
about what
system.
Christ did. He walked to the multitudes and spoke to the masses. He spoke truth. And we go back to the garlic theory. Back then, they either loved garlic or they didn't. And
Right.
those who didn't decided to persecute. And that's where we are. We are in a divided consciousness right now. And how we tap into the awakening, the 1111, is that it goes back to, going back to how may I be of service. We as a collective whole are focused on money.
Yes.
Thou shalt not have false gods before me. Does that make sense? We are addicted to money. We're addicted to oil. We're addicted to reality shows.
Hmm.
We're addicted to the Kardashians. We're addicted to Duck Dynasty.
Yes, yes,
And
yes.
we should be loving and caring and kind. We have children on our borders that need our help. Think about if this were happening to you.
Oh, I know.
You see what I'm saying? So it goes back to our past life. We have been that child in a past life. Let us not forget that.
Right.
We've all been immigrants. Let us not forget that. And that's what I experienced on the other side. I got a chance to see humanity at its best and humanity at its worst. And we're at a twofold choice this year. What are we? It's called the rise and fall of civilization. Think about it. When you watch the news, Russia. You think about the storms and the environment. It only takes one event to be the bullet heard around the planet. And so that's why the Crusaders on this that I'm speaking to today, and you know who you are. You
Yeah.
know I'm talking to you. It is your job to get out of self and get into being of service.
And
And again, one person can make a difference on this planet, and
and
that is you.
as a bonus, I don't know about you, but I feel at my very best when I'm making a difference for another. So we all have within us a passion, a hidden desire, something that makes us feel good. Give it away, make a difference to someone else, and in turn, you'll get great things right back. And Peter, believe it or not, there's only like a
Oh
minute
no.
left. Is it crazy how fast this goes
No,
by?
but you see how when there's a loving connection and energetic connection,
Yes.
the time accelerates.
Yes. So as a reminder to our listener, um, Peter Anthony you can go to his website, peteranthonyvisions.com, and find out more about him and anything else you want to say, Peter.
I do. I want you, for those who love garlic, and you've heard me mention this before.
They heard you say garlic in the first episode.
Yes, but
So
I'm
not
saying, my
separate.
book, Keymaster,
Okay.
you either love garlic and or you don't.
Right.
For
Like,
those of us who want to see what I've talked about in the near-death experience and how I changed my life and how I got to this thing called success through abundance, through abundant thinking, go and read my book. It will change your life. You will laugh, you will cry, you will care. Keymaster is the name of
ah,
my book.
thank you so much. And a big virtual hug from here
Oh.
to Palm Springs, my new BFF, Peter Anthony. And as a reminder, I'm Sandra Champlain. I'm your host. And I believe life is an education for the soul, that you're here on earth for a reason. Make a difference. You're never too old, doesn't matter how old you are, to make a difference. And I want to encourage you to go to our website, wedon'tdieradio.com. There's a place to listen to past episodes, hear more about or read more about Peter. And even if you know someone who'd be a perfect guest for the show, I'd love your input, and yours too, Peter. So all
Thank
that
you.
being said, I wish everybody a great rest of your day, and we'll be right here on the next episode. Bye-bye.